Hi class, I'm making a video of the homework for of chapter 13. So you can use the calculators for expected returns and two stock portfolio and CAPM models. It's quite convenient to use the calculators. Okay, let's start with the first question. So the first question is, the stock's return has a probability of 25% to make 30% return and 50% of opportunity to make 12% return and 0.25 probability to make a negative 18% return. The question is asking you to calculate the expected return. So from the class website, you know the equation. This is the class website, so you know the equation is to calculate expected return is here. So expected return equals to PI multiplied by RI for every situation. You add it up of PI multiplied by RI, and that's expected return here. So it's just like when economy is in recession, and the probability for this to happen, that's PI multiplied by RI. When we're in recession, what kind of returns it is. So, and plus normal economy's probability times normal economy's return plus booming economy's probability times booming economy's return, and you add it up, that will be the expected return. So in this case, for this homework, so what we can do is, since it's just a probability 2-5, this is probability for a high return 30%, and plus another normal economy's probabilities times its return 12%, plus a low returns probability times its return, right? So this should be the expected. E stands for expected, R return. Okay, so it should equal to 9% if we use this equation here, or we can use you see. So let's look at here. So you see, so it has a table. I create the table here. For one column is the probability and the other column is the return. So all you need to do is just use probability and multiply by the return for each situation. You add it up, that will be the expected return. Or you can use Excel to do that. Like go to, if you click on this calculator in the on-campus class website, so for this calculator to use it, you can have two stocks, or you can just use stock 1, like our case is 25% and 50% and 25%. We have 3 economic status. For the first economic status, the return is 30%, and the second status is 12. The third one is negative 18. Okay, so that's all, because there's only one stock in this question. And click calculate. So you see, it doesn't calculate for stock 2's results. It's not showing, but for stock 1, so you see expected return is here, and also it shows the variance and standard deviation is how much. The equations for variance and standard deviation, you can also find it in the class website for on-campus class. So the equations should be here. So this is equations for the variance. The square root of the variance is the standard deviation. Okay, so again, Ri is the return for that economic condition. Pi is the probabilities for that economic condition to happen. And ER here is what we got from expected return. ER is just ER here. And once we got the variance, we get the standard deviation. To get the standard deviation, you just get the square root of the variance. That's the standard deviation. Okay, so, but however, you see this calculator can tell you how much is the standard deviation. For stock 1, here, based on our calculation, it has the expected return of 9%. And that means you're expecting to earn 9% of return next year. But it has a standard deviation of 17.23%. Okay, so this is the first question. So let's look at question number 4. Number 5. So this question has 5 economic conditions, economic state. So a recession, below average, average, above average, and boom. So the question is asking for expected return and standard deviation. To do that, I've made the table. So you see, all you need to do is just to get the expected return, you just use recession's probability 10% multiplied by negative 30% plus 20% times negative 2% plus 40% times 10% plus 20% times 18% plus 10% multiplied by 40%. So you get expected returns. Once you got the expected returns, you use this calculator. You see, so now you get the difference of the return minus the expected returns you got previously and get the square of the difference and multiply by the probability and add all the 5 economic states up, and that will be the variance. And then you get the square root of the variance to get the standard deviation. It's quite long calculation because we have 5 economic states. Okay, so to get the expected return, so you see it's here. So this is what you can do. And to get the standard deviation, because using the equation here, so you see it's a very long equation, but I've prepared it. So let's take a look. See, so this part, the first part, we know that expected return, so we just did it previously. And for the return, for the standard deviation, so you see, you need to get the difference of the return, like negative 30%, minus the expected return we got from here, and then get the square, and then multiply by the probability. Add them up, and get the square root of this number, and that will be the standard deviation. And this number, if we add it up, and that will be our variance, and the square root of this number will be the standard deviation. Okay, so if you do that by hand, this is the whole steps you need to do. Okay, using calculator, it's quite convenient. So we got 5 economic states. So the returns are, the probabilities are 10%, 20, 40, 21. Okay, so it's 10, 20, 40, 20, and 10, right? No, it's not right. That's right. So add up to 1. So we add them up, it equals to 1. That's right. And the return for each state is negative 30, negative 30, negative 2, and 10, 18, 40. 10, 18 and 40. So, and you click on calculate. So you see expected return should be 8.2 and standard deviation should be 16.98 and variance should be 0.0. See, there's no percentage here. So the variance should be 2.884% or 0.02884 here. So yeah, 0.0036% based on our calculation. It's correct. So the answer for this question, standard deviation should be 16.98. Expected return should be 8.2%. So you see, using the calculator is quite convenient. If you don't, you can use, you can create the table like I was doing here, and then do the calculation. You can do that in Excel, but you still have to create the table. Okay, so this is this question, number 5.